folks, and welcome back to Grumpy Viking Tactical. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you, well actually tonight, I thought I would take time to do a bit of a review on the Feyachi, I'm not sure how it goes, but it is the FL17 tactical light. You can actually pick these up on Amazon, they're like 40 bucks. They come with different types of mounts. But really quick for the brevity of YouTube, as you can see, I have no magazine in this AR-15, and it is clear. I actually cleared it right before I started filming. But, so let's dive on into the light here. These are, like I said, they're like $40 lights. You can pick them up on Amazon. They are a tactical light. They can be mounted to M-LOK, which is what I have here, but you can also get them with Picatinny mounting systems. I think they might also have a few models that is key mod. I'm not 100% sure about the key mod part. Now when it comes to the light itself, you get two different base plates. You get a push button base plate, which is what I'm using here, and then you get a normal button base plate that you can, it's just a push button on the bottom. And of course I went for the dual push button, which for the dual push button you have a momentary. There we go. You have a momentary, and then you have an on-off. So far, since I've mounted this light, I've put a couple hundred rounds through this AR-15. The light does seem to be holding up to the vibration and things of that nature. It is made of aluminum alloy. It comes with two rechargeable batteries for the light itself. Now, with that being said, the batteries has about a 4-hour lifespan is what the specification says. That being said, I've actually gotten up to 5. When I did my test, it was about 5 hours 15 minutes, 5 hours 20 minutes is when the light finally died. It is a 1200 lumen light, and it's got a range of about 200 meters, which I will show you here in a little bit. I'll take the camera outside, give you about a 200 meter range, and flash the light. It is actually a fairly lightweight light. The mounting system is also aluminum alloy as well. Now with that being said, with some of the more expensive lights like I see in Surefire, with the cord here, it's fixed. With the Surefire lights, or some of the Surefire lights, I don't know about all of them, they kind of have like a swivel point, so it's easier to unscrew them. What I found the best thing to do is actually unscrew the top, drop my battery down in, and screw the light back on, which is why I'm kind of had an issue there. It basically just wasn't screwed tight enough. So let's take this. Oh yes, one other thing, the light is actually waterproof. I did sort of kind of test it. I didn't do anything like submerge it, but the rifle has been out in the rain, things of that nature. It has been in field conditions, and the light has handled the field conditions no problem. So let's take this outside. I'll show you the brightness, and then I'll bring this back inside and give you my final thoughts about the FL17 light. Alright folks, I am actually outside the cabin right now, and as you can see, it is pretty dark. All that I really have for light is moonlight. Now I can see a little bit better naturally than what the camera is detecting right now. This camera is not really made for this kind of low light. Now honestly, forgive the noise in the background, but that's nature. I am up in the mountains right now. I'm actually out of camp. So, as you can see, we'll see how well you can see this. Yeah, I just don't know how well you can see this with this camera, unfortunately. But there's actually a pond across the way that I can see, and that pond, the opposite side of that pond to the tree line, which is kind of foggy, is actually about 250 yards. So the 200-yard range is pretty accurate. Here, let's try a shorter range and see if I can get you some better light. Let me reset the camera here. And there's actually trees dead ahead of me, and that is about 80 yards in itself.
80, I believe it's 80 yards, if I remember correctly, from where I am standing on the deck. And as you can see, it's pretty bright and it's a pretty wide beam. All right, let's take this back inside and I will discuss more about the light. All right, folks, I thought I'd come out here in the daytime, and this is kind of like an add-on to the Feyachi, or sorry, I think it's Feyachi. You know what? I keep pronouncing that name wrong. The FL17 tactical light. Now, that is the long-range shot. And that tree line that you see way over there is, if I remember correctly, about 200 meters, or it's about 225 yards, 230 yards, somewhere in that neck of the woods. And I could sort of kind of see those trees over there, but not very well when I was doing the light. I don't know how well you could see it on the camera. Unfortunately, like I said, this is not a low light camera, but that gives you an idea of what kind of range I was looking at. Let's pull the zoom out and I'll show you my shorter range one. I really love it out here. You'll get to see a bit of nature. So that tree line over there is about 80 yards through that tree, if I remember correctly. Standing exactly where I'm standing on the deck, if I remember correctly, it's about 80 yards, and I could see that clear as day. Essentially, it comes down to, if there was something over there I needed to engage, I would have been able to engage it. Anyway, folks, I'm going to wrap this little section up at that, and then we're going to take it inside, and I'll give you my final thoughts about the FL17 tactical light.
Alright folks, we're back inside now, and I can speak a little bit louder. I didn't want to scare any deer or anything that was out there, which there is no deer out there right now. Now, I do want to point out a feature of the push switch. It has a long, the long switch here is the momentary, and then this is the actual push button. I like that as a feature. Like, I can tell the difference between the switches with just my thumb. So if I just need that momentary, I can reach up around with a C-clamp and push the button, or I can go for the bigger, more permanent on-off. Now, that being said, another thing with this, I do actually have the switch mount here. I paid extra to get a switch mount. The switch mount did not come with the light itself. I think the switch mount was $15. It was like $12 or $15. I think it was $15 after tax and ship for the switch mount. That being said, the light does come with a way to mount the switch to the rifle. Essentially, it would be done. It's done with a Velcro strap. I didn't really like the Velcro strap myself, so I went with going to get a mounting block for the push button. That being said, it was pretty easy to put together and get mounted on the rifle, or at least easy within the realm of, you know, M-lock stuff. M-lock is a bit more difficult to work with than Picatinny stuff, but that being said, usually once it's on, it's on. Now, the mounting hardware has not loosened up at all, so it is holding pretty good. I'm going to have to say, folks, real quick, one more thing as a disclaimer. This company's never heard of me. So the switch, the light, this was bought out of my own pocket. Yeah, I know it is kind of a budget light, and I do acknowledge that it is a budget light. It's not a Surefire or anything like that. But honestly, for, you know, essentially a $40 light, I'm actually really pleased by how this thing has performed so far. Like I said, it comes with this extra battery, comes with a charger, comes with the Velcro strip, and then everything else you see here, as well as the base plate push button, so you can use it more like a normal flashlight, if you will. But yeah, honestly, you know what, for the price tag, yeah, it's not a Surefire, but it's also not $200. Some of the Surefire lights I was seeing up to $200, some of them even higher. But yeah, I mean, it's been working, it's been doing the trick. You know, every time I've needed it, it was there, it was ready to go. The battery light itself, like this battery's actually been in here for 4 months, and as you can see, it's still working no problem. So I honestly can't complain about that either. No rechargeable batteries, as they sit around, they kind of want to die randomly, but that has not been the case with this light. Anyway, folks, hopefully you all enjoyed this video covering the, actually I believe it's Feyachi tactical light. This is the FL17. Yeah, also real quick, Patreons, thanks a lot. You do help support the channel. You give the channel a bit of a budget. And if anybody is interested and want to give the channel additional budget, additional support, if you will, there's a Patreon link down below. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up at that, folks. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Appreciate you, and have yourself a wonderful day.